Welcome back. This is Nick Agram. As I promised last time, I will be solving a quadratic equation or quadratic equations with this kind. We have ax squared plus bx is equal to 0. When you see something like this, when you cannot see a constant without x, just a constant, then what you can do here, you can only do this by factoring. So you can see here, there are x times x there, and then we have x there. So the common factor is x. And then you have ax added by b is equal to 0. So when you have two factors, you can always divide these factors and let them equal to 0. And then we have ax plus b is equal to 0. Then you can just solve this equation. The other one, the first root is always 0. Okay, let's take a look for some example. For example, we have 3x squared plus 3x squared plus 5x. As you can see, there is no 0. And then as you can see, there is x to both terms. Then I will put them out outside the parentheses. So that then we have 3x added by 5 is equal to 0. Then our first root is, no, I'm not going to use. Our first root is 0. And our second root is 3x plus 5 is equal to 0. And then subtracting both sides of the equation by 5, then we have 3x is equal to negative 5. Divide both sides of the equation by 3, then x is equal to negative 5/3. I forgot to tell you on my first video that when you get two roots, you need to specify them. You need to specify them like this. My first root is equal to 2/3, and my second root is equal to negative 2/3. We usually put in a bracket, brace, I don't know. Okay, and the other one, this one, we should have written square root of 6, and the second root is negative square root of 6. We will do that here now with this. Our first root is same pen. Our first root is 0. It's always 0. When it is in the form of this equation, quadratic equation, the first root is equal to 0. Always. Remember that. The second root is negative 5/3 in this equation. We'll do it that way. Okay, let's have some more example. Another is this example. As you can see, 9x squared subtracted by 15x. If you do your factoring, the proper factoring, it should look like this. You have 3x and 3x for this one, and this one is negative 5 and 3x. So our 3x is the common factor, 3x, and we have 3x subtracted by 5 is equal to 0. But you can see here now, if we put them into equations, 3x is equal to 0, then our first root is still 0. So you don't need to do your proper factoring when it is look like this. For example, 9x squared subtracted by 15x is equal to 0. You can just put x there, and then we have 9x minus 15 is equal to 0. That's alright to do in this case, because we're not dealing on the proper factoring right now. But because you will have x is equal to 0, the first root. But I'm going to continue this way now. But I'm just telling you that it's alright not to do the proper factoring. Then we have 3x minus 5 is equal to 0. We don't need 5 there, so we add 5. Then we have 3x is equal to 5 divided by 3, and x is equal to 5/3. So that's our x sub 2. So x sub 1 is equal to 0, x sub 2 is equal to 5/3. Yeah, I think that's enough. On my next video, I will be discussing this form when the general form is there. All a, b, and c are not 0. As we have said, a should not be 0, or else we have a linear equation. There are a lot of ways on solving this type of equation, quadratic equation. We have the factoring, we have the completing the square, and we have also the quadratic formula. And of course, if you have a good calculator, you can use your technology. Maybe this last one, I don't have a good calculator to do it. I only have a graphing calculator. That's the reason why. So I will be discussing factoring, completing the square, quadratic formula. See you around.